What's up, everybody? Welcome to the vlog. We are back and we are about to start painting the kit. The primer is not here for the KBD bumper yet, so we'll have to wait for that to come in. That's no big deal. I'll probably start painting that tomorrow, but for you guys, you'll see that this video. Today, in the first part of the video, I'm going to start with the rear bumper and the side skirts. Obviously, yeah, there's one side skirt here. I have the other side skirt over there, ready to be started on. Now, I am gonna actually primer these for once. I never really primer stuff. I know I definitely have to primer this, because this is, you have to prep this a certain way because it's polyurethane and it has like this weird coating stuff on it. I guess it's like mold release from the factory, but these are fiberglass. And they've been wrapped before. I took the wrap off of them, even though it was black wrap. I took the wrap off of them. So now it's time to prep these. I guess I'll get to sanding. I'm not a body guy, not the best at this, but I can make it work. I can spray a rattle can. So I'm gonna just lightly scuff these and clean them so there's no adhesive on them, no oil on them. We use acetone and a green scuff pad because the green scuff pad's kind of smooth. It won't leave like scratch marks in it once you sand it. I'm not going to sand it too much because I know these have like a certain primer over the fiberglass, and just to protect that, as if I need to protect it. There's a piece there that's broken. This is broken. Of course, I got it used from another guy with a 350Z. He's also on YouTube. His name is Hyper. Go check him out. But this is his old kit, and it's been scraped. It was really low. As you can see, I'm missing a whole piece here. It's broken and stuff, but that'll be on the bottom, and that'll be primered and painted over, so you won't be able to see that. But the wrap, as you can see on some of the parts, I left a little bit of like adhesive. So I just got to get that off, scuff it up, and then should be ready. I'm not going to put that much primer on these. I'm probably just going to put a little bit. It really doesn't need primer, but I'm trying it this time. If not, I'll sand it again and redo it, but let's check that out. Like I said, you guys, I'm going to be using a green scuff pad. You can get these at Home Depot. This is just every average acetone. You don't have to get Duplicolor. Duplicolor is probably just a pricier version of it. It's nothing crazy, even though it says premium on it. It's nothing out of the ordinary. So you can get that at Home Depot also. Again, this is the purple color, gloss purple, the Rustoleum. And if I'm doing that, I also have to do the Rustoleum primer. This is automotive primer. As you can see, metal and fiberglass. I've never tried this. I've never primed anything. So if you look at my car, it's just, I used a scuff pad like this and just sprayed it with the purple. I never used primer. So it turns out pretty good. The only issues you run into with spray painting a car like that is just having clear. If it sits in the sun and sits out in the weather a lot, it's gonna fade. It's gonna get this oxidation, like white stuff. So if you buff it, that could help. I'm not painting the rest of my car to fix the paint, but I'm just gonna buff it and hope it matches. If it doesn't, then maybe I'll spray a light coat over it, but I'll get to sanding this and I'll check back in once we're through it. All right, I'm exhausted now, but everything is scuffed, not really sanded. I guess you could call it sanded, but everything is scuffed. There were some pieces I missed, or pieces of wrap that I missed, but those are taken care of now. Again, I definitely want to say, this is not the right way to do it. This is not the right way to paint your car, prep your car, or anything like that. One, I'm kind of lazy when it comes to body work. Two, it's a drift car. Three, I'm kind of good at making it work. So don't take my advice on saying that this is a good way to do it, but it works for me, so try it if you want. But I went to take these taillights out, or the turn signals, and it turns out they're epoxied in. So I'm not taking those out. I'm probably just gonna tape over them when I paint, so they can stay. They're not that bad. And it's not like I can't change the bulbs or anything, so whatever. And if I have to destroy these, getting these out eventually, I also have another pair from my current car, so no big deal. There is spots like here and here, like these 90-degree crevices where the wrap was that left some type of residue. I don't think 3M wrap does that, but I could be wrong. I've never had 3M wrap do that. So I have to try and get that off with acetone, and for that I need a rag. Now, gloves make my skin break out, but sometimes you just gotta deal with it. I think the gloves making my hands break out is better than acetone on my hands. Acetone's pretty, not corrosive, but it's a strong chemical, so definitely gotta watch out with what you pick your battles when you put stuff on your hands. I'm definitely excited for this. What is this? Child-proof? I guess I'm a child. Push down and turn. Haha. Yeah, I'm hyped to drive my car. I really want to drive my car. I haven't driven it in a few years. Everybody asks me about it, and it needs to get finished. I've been wasting a bunch of time not drifting, and that's an issue. But once the car looks how I want it to look, then I'll start drifting technically, because this body kit's like the last thing that I really wanted when I first bought the car. Then after that, it's game on. But this is my first car, so it's very kind of important to me. Alright. So, to wipe it down with acetone, you're wiping it down to get rid of some of this adhesive that's left over, some of the dust. Like if I go like this, you can kind of see the dust on my hands. Got to get rid of that stuff because paint don't like it. Paint won't stick. And I'm also wearing gloves because I don't want the oils in my hands getting on the bumper when I go to move it to where I'm going to paint it. So here we go. You'll see how quick this evaporates and stuff. So you want to get that stuff off. Make sure you get in the cracks and stuff like that, because the spots where paint tends to lift is in those small, like 90-degree angles where I said that adhesive is. So there's a good chance with how much of that stuff is on here, I'm gonna have some issues with it. But I think I'll be okay. Good enough. Now, if this was like, if I was building this car for someone else, I would treat this way different, but since it's my car, I don't care that much. Yeah, that adhesive's coming off now. Sometimes you gotta soak it too. Whew, that's strong. guys haven't checked out the music that I'm overlaying right now, this is from Russo Beats, Russo Beats 2 on SoundCloud. Feel free to DM him. He'll make you whatever you want for whatever you want. If you're doing the same thing as I am, he'll make you music for it. If you're a rapper, he'll make you music for it. I'm pretty sure he can do trap beats, rap beats, jazz, anything you want. Go check him out. Alright guys, so I got the lights masked off, as you can see, since I can't get them out. This is my little paint booth. It's ghetto, but it'll work. It's not the end of the world. It's not the biggest deal worrying about this for, so as long as I keep most of it off, it's fine. But again, using Rustoleum automotive primer for the first time, so I did let the acetone air dry for a little bit, just in case, and I went back to that adhesive that I was talking about earlier that was in these corners, and they look way better now, so I'm pretty happy with that. We'll see how this primer lays, and hopefully it looks good. Then we can lay some other paint on it. Alright guys, so I painted the bumper and the two side skirts. I ran out of primer on the last side skirt. I guess I can go back in there now and show you. It should be clear enough. I was painting this like how I normally paint, like a top coat, like if I was painting the purple. And then I realized it doesn't really matter. As long as it covers, it's gonna look good anyways. What I'm talking about is, like, if you see these lines, like these tiger stripes here, see if I can find an easier spot to see. Over here, see those tiger stripes? Normally you wouldn't want that on the top coat. That would look really bad. But other than that, right now it looks pretty good. Since I'm gonna paint over it, I don't really care. I got this bumper done. I got most of this side skirt done. That part right there isn't really done up until like the halfway point there. And then I didn't get like the edges really good or anything like that because I started running out of paint. This one still has that first coat on it, except for all the way down here. So I'm debating on whether or not I want to go ahead and go grab another can. At the moment, then it's gonna delay me a little bit more unless I spray it tomorrow morning, and I don't feel like spraying it tomorrow morning because I gotta work in here where it's gonna smell like spray paint all day. So we'll see if I feel like primering that again. Again, I'm just primering it to try it. I never primer my stuff, but since this is fiberglass, and I've had a fiberglass hood that wasn't primered before and it looked like absolute garbage, so we'll see if I end up doing this one. These two are done and they'll dry until tomorrow, and then I'll get a top coat on it of the purple, and then we'll be rocking and rolling. The primer for that should be here tomorrow, and then I can prep that. Maybe I'll paint this purple and then prep that tomorrow, because painting, it's the quickest part. The prep is the most annoying part. But yeah, I'm gonna try prepping that, paint these purple tomorrow. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And just like that, we're back. It's the next day. It's time to get stuff done. Those are the hood vents. I painted those earlier while I was at work. They look decent. They look good enough. Those are from FDF Fab. Those are awesome. I like those a lot. If you're cool with cutting a hole in your hood the size of that. It's my hand for reference. But I do have the KBD bumper up there, ready to start getting prepped, and these will get purple today. So hopefully By the end of the day, everything will be purple. No promises, because I do have to run out and give an estimate on fabrication work. So if you need any fabrication work, let me know. Love to do fabrication work. This is how they dried. They look pretty good. The one side skirt doesn't have doesn't have as much primer on it as the other two, because I ran out of primer and didn't feel like going to buy more primer, which I wasn't going to prime these anyways, so whatever. But primer looks pretty good. Not really seeing any imperfections in it. So I'll bring you guys over to the bumper. I'm gonna start on this bad boy. So KBD gives you these instructions when you buy a bumper, and I don't know if you can see that clearly, but they tell you how to unfold it on one side and how to prep it on the other for paint. So we're just gonna go by this. I got everything they said on the list. So they say get acetone, 3 clean rags, Ajax with bleach powder cleaner, which is this stuff. Scotch Brite pads. They say a maroon. You need a P100, 400 or whatever, maroon coarse scuff pad. I'm pretty sure any fairly coarse scuff pad will do. I have gray ones. This should be good enough. Water and this special adhesion primer. That's why I waited and primed. Well, I'm gonna prime this one different than the other ones. They want you to get this. You can get this on Amazon. That's where I got it, and it shipped pretty quick. So this is Bumper and Cladding Coat Adhesion Primer by Polyvance. It's pretty expensive stuff, so I only got 2 cans, but that should be good enough for a bumper. So, and then 400 grit sandpaper. So going by the instructions, it says wet the first clean rag with acetone, using very light pressure, wipe down the KBD body kit with the acetone rag. So we're gonna do that. Now it says spread the Ajax with bleach powder cleaner. So spread this on a scuff pad and clean the surface of the product thoroughly. So they want me to put this on one of these scuff pads and then scuff the whole bumper. I guess keep using this on the scuff pad. So we'll get right to that. By the way, you can see a difference in, well, at least in person, you can see a difference in just the sheen and how it looks now that I have everything wiped down with acetone. So starting to have some faith in this. We'll see how she turns out. As you guys can see, I made a mess. Covered in Ajax. There's Ajax all over the counter, or the lift. But I wanted to kind of show you guys right here. So you notice I didn't do right here. That's a lot. I didn't do right here, but I did everything else on the bumper. If you can see the texture of this, well, it's more like matte, like the Ajax is sticking to it. Now when I'm on a fresh, like I can go like that and it's still stuck to it, but if I go like this on the part I haven't done, it's still pretty clear, it's still pretty dark. So it seems to cling to it once you're like sand it in a little bit. And I'll tell you what, if you're gonna do this, definitely do it in a spot you don't care about having to clean up later, because this is a big mess. I'm probably gonna get an air hose when I'm done and just blow everything off. I did spill like a quarter of the Ajax on the floor over there. What a mess up. I don't know if the time lapse got it, but I'm clumsy. So you see, as I start to really get into that spot, really like to start embedding itself. And now, like I did before, I'll wipe it like a sponge and it's like embedded into it. So I think that's how you're supposed to do it. I didn't look up any videos on it. I just went by the directions, and I'd rather use more Ajax and make a mess rather than not use enough Ajax and have to deal with this all over again and possibly paint it twice, because I don't think I would know if it's perfect until I paint it, which would suck. It's nothing worse than having to paint something twice just because the paint that you did originally is messed up. That's it. So now it says pour water on the KVD product in order to make sure the product has been cleaned properly. If the product has not been cleaned properly, the water will form into beads on the product. If the product has been properly cleaned, then the water will roll off in sheets. So it's got a picture there as an example. Dusty. It's not supposed to bead up like that. Apparently it's supposed to flow off like this. Horrible picture, but apparently it's just supposed to flow off and not bead up. So I'm gonna go take this outside, spray it with water, and clean this table, and we'll be right back. Okay, so the bumper is sprayed off. As you can see, it's spraying this spot right here. Now look, I didn't really prep where the holes are, and it's beading up like that. Not too bad, but it's beading up. And then the rest of it looks like that. It's starting to dry right there, but that's what they mean. It's supposed to just lay on it instead of beading up into, beads of water. Doesn't really look any different, but it looks good. Alright. So the bumper's pretty dry. I hosed it off, like you saw. And then I blew it off with a air hose to help speed up the drying process, and I have a heater over there blowing on it right now. But as you can see, it's way different than before. I still have to acetone wipe it. Let's see. After it's clean, wet the second clean rag with acetone using very light pressure. Wipe down the KVD Body Kits product with the acetone rag. And then once it's been clean, we can prime it. So this is the final prepping step before the primer. Oh, sanding really makes you tired. But we'll keep on moving. So, acetone and clean rag. Now it's time. Time to put the first coat of color on. Bumper looks pretty good after wiping it down with acetone. I was a little iffy on how like pale the bumper was before I wiped it down, but now it looks pretty good. It looks like it's kind of solidly one texture. But I'm going to set up I'm going to let it dry for a little bit first to make sure there's absolutely no moisture at all before I paint it. And then I'm going to put it on a tarp and start painting. So let's do that. Alright guys, so I got the bumper set up, ready as it's ever going to be for the primer. Hopefully this goes well. I have to sand it anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I hope it goes well and there's not any issues to where I have to redo the Ajax thing, because to be honest, that kind of sucked. But that's what it takes to have a nice bumper. Here we go. Alright guys, so you can't really see right now. I have the camera on a tripod and the bumper's facing the opposite way, go figure. But that paint's actually pretty good. I can see why it's so expensive. The fan that it sprays on is like very, I guess it's more of like a vertical spray like that. It's pretty good. It's nice when you want to do a layer and then come back and like even it out, as you should. It's pretty good. And it's almost basically dry, which is crazy. It's crazy that it just dries like that. But now what I'm gonna do, we're gonna start painting these purple. Now, I might wipe them down with acetone one more time, because I did use an air hose in here and it's kind of dusty in here. Well, it was at least. So I think I'm gonna wipe them down with acetone one more time just to make sure. Let them dry a little bit so I know that they're dry. And then we'll go ahead and paint them purple. Alright guys. Whew. So, take you guys off this tripod real quick and I'll show you guys what she looks like. This one's gonna have to wait for tomorrow because I didn't account for how long you have to wait before you sand this. And I'd rather not mess the front bumper up out of all things. So I'll just wait for tomorrow. I'll film that for you guys. But the bumper and side skirts are basically done. Once they're completely dry, I'll probably wet sand, maybe buff them. Tends to help get rid of any like little spots of tiger stripes or orange peel. But overall, I mean, there's only a little bit. So I'm happy with it. It's not like there's other parts of my car that don't have that. So it is what it is. It's pretty uniform and it went pretty smooth. So tomorrow we'll do that and we'll skip to that right now. The paint is dry on both the bumper I have up there and the side skirts and bumper and rear bumper. Looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. I'll definitely run this the way it is. Side skirts could be better, but whatever. They'll get kicked and probably torn off anyways. But yeah, the rear bumper came out great. Masking the lights turned out good. And now it's time to get this sanded. They say sand it with 400 grit and then clean the bumper with acetone and you're ready to paint for whatever color. They probably don't mean spray paint, but I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyways. So you guys can see this primer. This primer looks so good. I don't really care that I spent that much money on the primer now. I think it's like 40-50 bucks a can, but looks really good. So we'll start sanding this, clean it off, and I'll see you guys when we're ready to paint it. It says on KBD's thing to wipe it down with acetone. But look what the fucking acetone did. Just wiped the primer right off, just smeared it. So don't do that. For the last step for KBD bumpers, after they say prime it, don't use acetone. I use basically a dry rag to wipe everything off. Make sure there's no dust. Use an air hose. Don't do that. So we'll see. I don't have really any primer left, so we'll see if that sticks and holds paint. If it doesn't, then I'll have to repaint it. But yeah, don't go with KVD's instructions on the last part. Don't use that third rag of the acetone. Lesson learned. But everything is sanded, and we'll get to the paint. There she is. Bumper is painted. This one went way better than the rear bumper. As you can see, very even. Still some imperfections, can't get it perfect, but this is almost as good as it gets. So now I'll let this dry, and then I'll be able to put that on. Obviously I still have to paint those corners down there, but as soon as that's dry and I can move it and touch it, then I'll move it over and just spray the two little corners there and the two corners on the other side. But these are done. Now the only things left is to put the kit on. And she's good to go. Anyways, anybody that's painting a KBD kit or fiberglass kit, I hope you learned something. Like I said, taking my word with a grain of salt. I'm not the best body guy. I'm not the best painter. I'm obviously using spray paint cans, but it can be done with spray paint cans. I've been told that it looks good. Not by people I know, by random people. Random people have stopped me and said it looks good. So if you do it right or do it good enough, people won't notice. Some people think it's a wrap, but there you go. I hope that helped you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please smash that like button, and we'll see you guys next time.